In the last video, I built my screener here, and the goal is to take all of this, which is a pile of dirt and rock mixed together, and separate them so that I end up with gravel that's actually gravel and not mixed with a whole bunch of dirt. And then I can take the topsoil, the dirt that's left over, and I can use that somewhere else. So what we're going to do, I've got these bins under here, and what's going to happen is I put this onto the screener, the dirt's going to fall through into these bins. I don't really need this gravel anywhere other than here. Here will be just fine. So I'm going to have that gravel just fall here and basically relocate that pile through the screener in front of it. And I'm going to see, using the new screener, how much of this I can get done in about 30 minutes tonight. I'd like to get the whole pile done. I don't think that's going to happen by hand, but we are going to see how much we can get done in about a 30-minute window. That may be as much as my body can handle, and then I may need a break. So if I can go farther and I just get the whole thing knocked out, that'd be great, because I need this gravel for my next project. So my name's Chris. Welcome back to the Coyote Country Homestead. Let's get started. Got my shovels ready. I'm going to get a 30-minute timer started here. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Okay, the clock is running. You can see gravel starts to build up at the bottom of this. And what I wish I could do is raise the whole screen up so that the bottom of it was about 12 inches higher and the top of it was 12 inches higher. I may look at a way to do that. That means that I have to shovel the gravel 1 foot higher than I'm already going. And that's kind of getting to be a little bit of work. So I'm not sure if it's not easier to just go ahead and scoop the gravel off every once in a while when it gets all built up at the bottom. Another challenge that I'm facing with this setup is how the gravel tends to build up at the top. I could fix that, I think, by adjusting the angle so that it was sharper. But again, that raises the top of the screener to where it makes it more difficult to get gravel shoveled up to there, especially if I raise the whole thing 12 inches. The other thing that happens here is roots from the plant material that you see there. The screener does a really good job of grabbing that biologic material and screening it out also, but that has a tendency to get caught up in the mesh. And then the gravel tends to catch on that, and I really don't have a choice besides using my hands to manually kind of push the gravel down at that point. It still works great, it's just there's a couple of things that cause it to not be completely efficient. I put the black bins below to catch the soil as it falls through, and that worked out pretty well. there are some gaps between the bins, and so soil tends to fall down underneath that. What I found is that I prefer to put, instead of the pallet under there, I prefer to put a sheet or a tarp or something like that to catch the rest of that soil as it falls through. And then what I'm doing is after I'm done, I'll pull my tractor up to there and I can dump the bins into my bucket and then also gather all of it off of the tarp or the blanket and just kind of push that into the bucket. And then I can relocate that topsoil somewhere else, wherever I need it. How much time left on the timer? All right, guys, about 7 minutes left. Someone suggested putting sides, some kind of like maybe more 2x4s on the sides to keep the gravel from rolling off. What I found was if I just turned the angle a little bit to be more in sync with the slope away from the shop, that the gravel had a tendency to fall straight down more. So that's working pretty well. What I would maybe do is on the inside of the 2x4s at the top and the bottom, I think I would maybe add another 2x4 in there. And that would cause the screen to not give when the gravel builds up on there. It has a tendency to fall through. I should stop and clear all of that, but I want to get as much on here as I can before the timer runs out. Well, I'm going to have to clear some of it. We talked about the bins. If you look in there, you can see the bins are already starting to overflow with the amount of dirt. I was really surprised how much dirt was getting separated out by this process. Oh, I got to clear it before the timer's going to run out. How much time is left on the timer? Oh, 13 seconds. Well, that'll be good. I was going to say as much as I could get on the screener, we would call that. But since the timer's going to go off right now, 2, 1, and there it goes. All right, I feel like that's a pretty good amount. Let me get the rest of this gravel moved off the screener and get the screener out of the way. Okay, I'm going to move the screener over to the wall Get it out of the way. Let me show you what we got. So I feel like we put a pretty good dent in that pile. I knew we wouldn't get it done. You know, like I said, I was really hoping to get it all done, but I figured this is probably going to be 4, 5, 6 times worth of work, just like I did now. And then we'll be through with the gravel one. The dirt one's going to take longer. I'm in a hurry. I got all summer for this. You can see if I come down a little bit lower, I got a pretty good pile of gravel there. It's about as big around as my pallet over here. And I would know in the highest part, I'd call that 12 to 18 inches deep. And then the most important part, look at all that dirt. That is all the dirt that I separated out of this gravel, and that was what my problem was. You know, I wanted to be able to use this gravel as gravel, and it just had way too much dirt in it. That's it on this one. I just wanted to follow up with the building of the screener with an actual test. So you guys had an idea of how effective it could be. I think this is really going to help me with my project, which is to get all of this sorted out. Beyond that, I'm not sure I really need a screener. So I didn't want to put a lot of effort, time, and money into this thing when I may not need it again. By the time I do need it again, it may have rotted and fallen apart, and I may have to rebuild it. So in the meantime, I'm separating out my topsoil that I'll be able to use for other projects. And then the gravel, like I said, we're going to need that almost immediately for the project with the drain spout. So that's it for tonight. Do me a favor, click like, click subscribe. Subscribe won't cost you any money. We won't charge anything. And we won't send you anything, I'm sorry. But it will let you know that when I've got future videos coming out, and it helps me grow the channel. So other than that, thank you very much for joining us out here at the Coyote Country Homestead. My name is Chris. We'll talk to you next time.